It's a fascinating question. Do unseen influences affect our daily lives? And maybe more importantly, if they do, is there anything we can do to protect ourselves? Well, today we're going to dive right into that, using the teachings from the book, How to Repel Evil Spirits. So, just to be clear, in this explainer, we're simply laying out the key ideas and methods from the book. We're going to explore 4 really distinct spiritual perspectives on what you might call self-defense. And this is really the central question the book tries to answer. How do we build a kind of spiritual shield? What's really interesting is that the answers it gives don't really involve complex rituals or anything like that. Instead, it suggests the power lies within our own minds, our bodies, and our actions. We're going to explore the paths of 4 very different figures: the Archangel Michael, the healer Edgar Cayce, the samurai Sakamoto Ryoma, and the spiritual leader Deguchi Onisaburo. And believe me, each one offers a totally unique strategy. All right, first up, Archangel Michael. In the book, he's presented as this commander of heavenly armies, and his approach is this powerful mix of divine justice and really deep self-reflection. I mean, that's a pretty powerful quote, right? It frames Michael as this fierce protector we can call on. But, and this is a big but, his teaching isn't just about calling for help. It's really about making yourself a fortress that doesn't need rescuing to begin with. So how does that actually work? Well, the book lays out this core idea it calls the principle of possession. Think of it like a spiritual law of attraction, or maybe like a radio frequency. Negative forces can't just latch onto anyone. They need a hook. Things like unchecked ambition, jealousy, or resentment. Those create a kind of matching frequency that they can tune into. So Michael's defense strategy is really a 4-step internal process. It all starts with humility and contentment, basically managing the ego and the desires that create those hooks in the first place. Then it moves into actively controlling your thoughts, and finally, strengthening your spirit through reflection and faith. The big takeaway here is that true spiritual justice starts with yourself. It's all about cleaning your inner house so there's just no room for any unwelcome guests. Okay, let's move on to our second master, Edgar Cayce. You might know him as the sleeping prophet. His approach is much more grounded in the physical world, connecting our bodies directly to our spiritual safety. Now this is fascinating. Cayce makes a direct link between being physically exhausted and being spiritually vulnerable. The book explains his view that when you're completely wiped out, your spiritual energy, your aura, becomes, and this is his word, coarse. And this lower frequency state is described as being dangerously similar to the vibrations found in negative spiritual realms. So his advice is incredibly practical, right? It's fundamental self-care. Get enough rest, choose your friends wisely, practice gratitude, and go recharge in nature. The powerful insight from Cayce is that sometimes a spiritual problem has a very physical solution. For him, a healthy body is the absolute foundation of a strong spiritual defense. And this really gets to the core of his message. Beyond the physical stuff, Cayce taught that hope is the ultimate spiritual medicine. He believed that a hopeful mind could overcome pretty much any affliction, whether it was physical or spiritual. Our third master is a complete change of pace. Meet Sakamoto Ryoma, a visionary samurai who helped bring Japan into the modern era. His approach is all about outward action and having a purpose. You can just hear his no-nonsense personality in this quote, can't you? Ryoma kind of demystifies the whole idea of evil spirits. He sees them simply as souls who were once human and are now stuck. And a lot of the time, it's because of their own selfishness when they were alive. So for Ryoma, the most crucial thing is purpose. He argues that if your life is dedicated to something bigger than your own personal gain, your community, your country, the world, your spirit just becomes too big and too focused on the light to get dragged down into darkness. He saw selfishness as the anchor and living for the public good. Well, that's how you cut the rope. And this is his challenge to all of us. Instead of just passively defending against negativity, he asks, what are you actively doing to create positivity? For Ryoma, the best defense isn't a shield. It's a powerful, world-changing offense. Okay, finally, let's look at Deguchi Onisaburo, a really influential spiritual leader in modern Japan. His method is completely different again. It focuses on cultivating an inner state that is unshakable and just fundamentally bright. Now, his instructions sound so simple, but it's incredibly profound. The goal isn't just to act bright, it's to become fundamentally bright. It's about transforming your core nature into one that is so full of light and generosity that darkness just has no place to grab onto. And here is his most unique piece of advice, and I love this. He suggests that humor is a powerful spiritual tool. Why? Well, because the fight against negativity can make you way too serious, tense, and fearful, and those qualities actually make you more vulnerable. Laughter, Onisaburo taught, breaks that tension. It shows a kind of spiritual strength that even negative forces just can't penetrate.
So there you have it, 4 very different approaches to the exact same problem. Let's kind of synthesize them for a second to see how these distinct paths offer a really complete toolkit for spiritual self-defense.
This table really breaks it down nicely. You have Michael, who sees the problem as internal, our own arrogance and desire, and his solution is spiritual reflection. Then you have Cayce, who sees it as a physical and mental imbalance solved by body care and hope. Ryoma points to selfishness as the root cause and says the answer is action for the public good. And finally, Onisaburo sees a dark, agitated mind as the weak spot, which can be overcome with fundamental brightness and, of course, a good dose of humor. So, from the reflective faith of Michael to the practical health advice of Cayce, the bold action of Ryoma, or the joyful mind of Onisaburo, the book suggests there are multiple paths to spiritual strength. And the final question it really leaves us with is this: which path are you going to choose to walk?